Hey, happy Saturday. We are live here at Lance's Lock. Week 13, college football. Getting ready for a big day with you guys, and appreciate everybody jumping on. Questions, comments. If you guys want to talk sides, totals, you want to talk player props, I am here for you for about 30 minutes. So anything you guys want to get into on this Saturday, November 22nd, week 13 of college football, let's get into it. I cannot believe we only have two more college football Saturday regular season. So let's enjoy what we've got. Again, in the SEC today, not a great situation. A couple of games that could be meaningful. Missouri, Oklahoma. Prbula, if he does play, which, he's listed as active now, and the way this number is moving right now, you might get to see him in Norman. I wonder how limited he's going to be running the football, though. I mean, this thing opened at 10.5 in some shops. It's down to 5.5, and that's all because of the quarterback situation for Missouri. When they're whole, Missouri really good. Much better, though, in Columbia than away. And we'll get to another one of those teams where playoff implications, and they are night and day, home and away. But Missouri is one of those teams as well under Eli Drinkwitz. You also wonder, Eli Drinkwitz, how many jobs is he really in the mix for? How much flirtation is going on with Drinkwitz? And is that going to be a potential problem for Missouri? But I think the bigger issue is quarterback. Zollers plays. I don't think they've got a shot against one of the best defenses in all of college football. You guys have seen that. You saw it last week, what that defense was able to do, how it traveled to Tuscaloosa, completely dominated that game. The offense did absolutely nothing. And that's the other side of it. Missouri's defense really good, giving up less than 20 points per game, 26th in scoring defense. They'll give that Oklahoma offense problems. I just don't think it's going to pop overnight. I thought Mateer would be much better. I'm going to blame it on the thumb injury. I think he would have been more effective this year. I don't know if he would have been nearly what he was last year in Pullman, but nevertheless, Oklahoma wins out. They're going to be in the college football playoff. They're obviously favored today, 5.5. They're going to be favored by more next week at home against LSU. So still pivotal game. They lose this game, they're out. They win, they survive, they continue, and potentially, against LSU, getting into the college football playoff. Other SEC games with implications. Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Kentucky's playing extremely well right now. And let me pull this back. And I will put a little notation on that. They're playing extremely well for Kentucky football. The offense with Cutter Boley has really rounded into shape, or it's playing better than it's played all season. The freshman quarterback, he's given life to the offense. And now they travel to Nashville to play a Vanderbilt team where defense statistically is getting worse and worse. They're 48th scoring defense, still not bad. Still kind of top third of the pack, but giving up 22 plus points per game. And I do think Kentucky can have a little success here. But that is another one of those games that does have implications nationally in the SEC. But some really bad games: Samford and A&M, Eastern Illinois, Alabama, Mercer and Auburn, Coastal and South Carolina, which I'm going to get to that game in a minute because we almost gave out the Gamecocks. Couldn't pull the trigger. We've got 7 total plays for you guys today, though. Those are up and available right now at lanceslock.com. Did not have a good night last night. I tell you guys all the time, we're very transparent. We were killing it. We were 8-2 on the week going into last night, 3-0 in college football. We lost both sides. We split in basketball, but we had Florida State. And first text I got when NC State was up 7-0, how in the hell did this team beat Alabama? And when you watch how they can't finish drives, they're just all over the place. And the offense has got a lot of potential with Castellanos, but I think that kind of describes Castellanos's career from Boston College to where he is at Florida State. It's a lot of highs, a lot of lows. It's almost like a mini Jalen Milroe, if that makes any sense to anybody out there. One of those guys you don't want to trust with your cash at the window. We did it last night. We laid the Noles -6.5, and we got bit in the ass. So never in that one. We did have the over in the nightcap, Hawaii and in UNLV. And honestly, I almost played Hawaii, the 7-3 Rainbows. I think Timmy Chain's done a really good job with that team, but UNLV's defense finally showed up. And of course, we've got the over in that game. Still looked like we were probably going to get there at halftime, but a complete graveyard in the second half. So we go 0-2 last night in college football, which sets up a big day today. Again, we've been killing it, especially on Saturdays here in college football. Jump on, win with us. We've got 7 plays. We've got no early games. And I will say this, in 13 weeks, the most difficult card that I have seen this year. It was really, really tough. One of the reasons we've got kind of a limited card out there with only 7 plays. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the afternoon window games, 2:30/3 o'clocks. And then we have 3 games in the prime time window, a 6 o'clock, 2 6 o'clocks, and a 7 o'clock. And we do not have any of the late nights. Really didn't take a look at those. San Diego State's playing really well right now. So took a look at the Aztecs. Always take a look at their under with what Sean Lewis has done for that program. Took a quick look at Washington, just a little too much, laying 10.5 there in the Rose Bowl. UCLA, another one of these schizophrenic teams. Sometimes they show up and play extremely well in the Rose Bowl, and sometimes they just don't show up at all. And then had no feel at all for Utah State and Fresno State. So we did stay away from the late games, but we do have those 7 plays up and available right now. Anything you guys want to talk about, jump on, hit me with it. We can get into it. Late night last night, I was watching The Beast in Me. I don't know if you guys have seen this Netflix show with Matthew Reese and Claire Danes. Really good, really fucked up, honestly. But if you like true crime, not that it's, I guess it's more of a psychological thriller, 8 parts. I haven't finished it yet. But the point I'm at right now, wow. Some of the plot twist in this, really, really good. And Claire Danes, started to Ryan Brown about this on the next round yesterday. She plays crazy way too well. I think it's almost like, if you watch her in Homeland, you're like, damn, she can act. And then you see her in some of these other roles like The Beast in Me, and you're like, she's just flat out crazy. But anyway, good show on Netflix. If you guys have time late night tonight, or you've got time to kill over the Thanksgiving holiday, I would recommend that. Seems like I'm always on a show. I know you guys are as well. If you have any recommendations for me, let me know. But we're going to stay on here until about 10:30, about 20, 30 more minutes with any questions or comments you guys might have for us right here on week 13 of Lance's Lock. I'm going to get into my super teas, and I've actually got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams that would fit into this, that would be interesting when you look at them in a 3-team tease, 10 points each side scenario. So I will give you those, and I'm going to limit that down to 3. Gave you another winner last week. These things have been way too easy. So say that like a month ago, we had what was one of the more appealing on paper 3-team teasers you'll ever play. And it got home by like a point on each one. And I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was pretty amazing. I think Alabama was in that one, and I forgot who they were playing. But anyway, I don't necessarily recommend playing these, but sometimes on paper they look so good, and you're like, hell, why not give it a shot? Okay, some late strikes for me. I talked about South Carolina. Shane Beamer this week, and this is a 3-7 team, was telling local reporters in Columbia, hey, next year at this time, you just wait. We're going to be right there in the mix for the college football playoff. Now, they were last year. I give him credit there, but LaNorris Sellers, the regression from him, obviously Mike Shula, an offensive coordinator that he handpicked, Shane Beamer being him, already fired. The offense has been abysmal, just absolutely awful. I mean, you look at the South Carolina offense, 116th in scoring offense. And if you're LaNorris Sellers, more than likely to the NFL, I think so much upside. If you were going to select Anthony Richardson, number 4 overall, which the Colts did 3 years ago, just based on potential, LaNorris Sellers, so much more potential and so much more experience than Anthony Richardson. Now, I know some other people could say on the other side of it, you've got more experience, but more film of him being bad and very inconsistent. But I think LaNorris Sellers still a lot of upside. And it's just amazing where South Carolina is. But with that said, and Shane Beamer talking about, hey, next year is going to be the year, I think they've got something to prove as far as like, hey, we got to back up these comments. So I really, really took a look at laying the 23.5. I'm trying to see where that number is right now. It's a pretty good play if, in fact, you can trust that South Carolina offense to cover a number that is actually more than the output of their scoring for the season. It's up to 24.5. It's a good play. Again, it's hard to say that with a team that averages less than 21 points per game, giving up 24.5 to a 6-4 Coastal Carolina. The thing you wonder or worry about is maybe a backdoor from Coastal. I think South Carolina first half might be a really, really good play for you guys out there. I haven't seen the first half number. It's probably 14.5, but I could see South Carolina get some guys in the game late. They're up 28. They give up that backdoor touchdown because they're getting ready for Clemson. But I did take a look at South Carolina. Coastal Carolina's defense is awful, 105th scoring defense. They're giving up almost 30, right at 30 points per game. They have been covering, though. I will say that about Coastal, 4-1 their last 5 out. So they have been getting to the window, but I did like South Carolina in this one and almost pulled the trigger. When we put these together last night, it was 23.5. It's crept up to 24.5. That shows me, I think the smart money just continues to pile on South Carolina. I didn't have the balls to lay 24.5 with this awful, awful offense. And again, I think if they get home today, I don't think it's going to be easy, but I do think Shane Beamer will try to put a little something in today's game based on the comments this past week. Okay, to reset everything, we've got 7 games up and available today. We don't have any early play. So if you want to jump on, you want to try us for a daily package, you can do that. Weekly package, monthly package, yearly. We've got it all. You can sample us. We've got a free play up every day. Not only do we have the 7 plays in college football, we've also got a couple in hoops today too. So normally we just go flat college football on Saturdays. We did mix in a little bit of hoops. So we do have a couple of plays there. But again, the main thing is the 7 college football games, no early games. And we have 4 in the afternoon window, and we've got 3 in the prime time window. No late night games, no early window games. So for whatever that's worth, jump on, win with us today here at Lance's Lock. I tell you, I'll specifically get into a game that I have given out, and it's one of my 7 plays today. But as I wear my SC gear, this is the second biggest game in Lincoln Riley's tenure in his 3+ years at SC since the Pac-12 championship game year 1 against Utah, where Caleb Williams came out on fire. I don't know if you guys remember this game. If they win that game, they're in the 14 playoff. And Caleb Williams gets a little dinged up in the first half, kind of strains the hamstring, is not the same as far as running the football. And Utah just plows them in the second half. And ultimately, obviously, USC loses, and they don't get to a college football playoff. They weren't that good. The offense was fantastic back then with Caleb Williams. But this is a more rounded team. I don't trust them. 65th time that USC and Oregon have met up. I think the Ducks now have won 3 consecutive games in this series. USC's offense, I mean, statistically, it looks like it pops. It's 10th nationally right now, over 38 points per game. There was a time back in, mid to late October, I thought it was one of these unstoppable offenses, and the defense was going to be was going to give them a lot of problems. You go back the last 3 games, and not world beaters offensively by any means, but Nebraska, Northwestern, Iowa, only 3 total points in the final 30 minutes of each of those games. So USC's defense has buckled down a little bit. The problem is Jade Maeva, as good as he's been on the road, or excuse me, at home, and I threw these numbers out earlier this week on the next round. So if you're hearing them again, excuse me, but it is a massive difference. And it's one of the reasons I love the Ducks today. And I hope I'm wrong. And, I hope we go 6-1, and I hope USC is a live dog and they win this game outright. I just don't see it. I've watched every minute of every game. Well, I shouldn't say that. I didn't watch the full third quarter of last week because of the rain situation, but I've watched a ton of USC football this year. Maeva at home in the Coliseum, 6-0, completing 75% of his passes, 14 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions and 293 passing yards per game. You flip this when he gets outside of the Coliseum, 2-2 on the road, only completing 56% of his passes, almost 20% lower there. 4 touchdowns to 4 picks, an even touchdown to interception ratio, and only 277 yards per game passing. It's just been night and day. And this, the defense might travel a little bit. And that's one of the things that I would tell you guys, if you're not comfortable. I think there's a lot of people out there that like SC plus the points. And this is virtually a play-in game because as much trouble, and I said this last night on our broadcast, Oregon's had with Washington. I just don't see this Husky team beating this Washington team. And again, flukes can happen, but USC is going to take care of UCLA if they win this game. So the winner of this game is going to be in. It's ticked up to Oregon 10.5. We played it last night where we bought it down to 9.5. A lot of you guys play with offshore books. You can buy the full point. I would try to get in under that even number of 10. But I think Oregon's defense is going to be the difference here. And that's been their calling card this year, much like Alabama. When you really, really watch it, as good as Simpson's been, you've got Germ, you've got Ryan Williams, you've got weapons there. They're one-dimensional. They're still committed to the run. But the offense just looks a little off. And I think Will Stein's offense with Dante Moore, who's going to be a first-round guy, it looks a little off. I just don't think they've got the playmakers they've had before on the edge. Now, they can run the football. But again, I think Oregon is doing it with defense, 6th right now in scoring defense, giving up less than 14 points per game. I think that's going to be what's going to be the trouble for Maeva today. And then on the other side, Oregon can run the football. Like it hasn't been flawless by any means. It's not the Will Stein machine offense that we've seen in the past, but they can run the football and they can physically do it. And as good as USC's defense has been playing, I don't think they can hold up against this run. So Oregon is 19-1 their last 20 home games. The one loss earlier this year to Indiana. Indiana, in my opinion, real deal. They were able to, physically handle Oregon. I just don't think USC is going to be able to do that. Therefore, I'm giving you one of the 7 picks absolutely free. I do like the Ducks here. And again, I hope I'm wrong. We have never had that perfect Saturday. It started out like we might have that last week. The 2 weeks before, we were 6-2-1 and 7-2. So we've been close. A 7-0 would be great, but I would rather, I know you guys don't want to hear this, I'd rather have a 6-1 with a USC win. I don't see it happening, though. I feel really good about Oregon. And I even gave that pick out on some other shows that I do throughout the week, promoting Lance's lock. So there you go. Oregon Ducks minus now 10.5. Again, I would recommend buying the full point to get it off that even number of 10. 141 of you guys right now live. We're going to go another 10 or 15 minutes. Any questions or comments? Again, I'm not good at operating the questions and comments or the comments, finding out exactly where they are. But if you have anything, pop it up. Anything you guys want to get into. I mentioned this yesterday. We took a look at Kansas. Jalen Daniels finally, or shouldn't say finally, sadly trying to get bowl eligible. Just don't know what's happened to this Kansas program over the last couple of years. I mean, last year you could blame it on the fact that Jalen Daniels couldn't stay healthy, but Lance Leopold has really missed a window. Whether or not he wants to leave Kansas, I don't know. The former Buffalo coach, when you talk to people, analysts, they all swear by Lance Leopold. Hey, man, when we're getting ready for this broadcast, just watching what this guy does, how prepared he is, how detailed he is offensively. He's one of the best coaches in college football. Well, unfortunately, the record has kind of hamstrung them. And I think we forget how bad Kansas football used to be. And I'm not making excuses because there is much more of a commitment to Kansas football. I was actually on campus for a game in 1994. They didn't even have lights. ABC had to bring in lights for the Kansas-Nebraska game. But now you've got a beautiful stadium. You've got money into that program. But because they're not winning at a high level, I think people have forgotten how good of a coach this guy is. And I think he's missed an opportunity here. But anyway, they're trying to get bowl eligible today against Iowa State, who has completely fallen off the face of the earth. Iowa State back in September, we thought they were going to be a player. And I think at one point, they were the favorite, along with Texas Tech, to win the Big 12 and get to the college football playoff. And obviously that has gone sideways for Matt Campbell and Iowa State. And I think Matt Campbell is one of these guys, too, that with all these jobs out there, I think he probably would have taken the LSU job if he would have ever been given an opportunity. But he hasn't been mentioned because a lot of people think that he's a lifer in Ames, and he probably is now. But that is another game that I took a look at. A couple of factors there. Most importantly, it was an 11 o'clock game, so really didn't want to touch it. Iowa State sitting at 3.5, a total of 55.5 right now. Jump on board with us. 7 plays today in college football up and available right now. I gave you one of those free winners with the Oregon Ducks. That's probably the biggest game in college football today because I do think the winner stamps their ticket. Now, the way this college football season is played out, the winner probably will lose next week, Oregon to Washington or SC. victory bell game against UCLA. But at least on paper, it looks like the winner will survive, advance, and get to a college football playoff. I cannot imagine the scenario if Michigan was to get blown out by Ohio State, SC or Oregon wins this game and then loses next week. Is there a possibility the Big Ten only gets 2 teams in? I know nobody believes that. Indiana and Ohio State have already booked their tickets. They are 1,000% in. Both of those teams are going to get buys, win or lose in the Big Ten championship game. But I think it is fascinating if the worst case scenario for the Big Ten, winner of this game loses next week. And again, I don't think Bryce Underwood is a guy that he's going to have his hands full today, in my opinion, with Maryland. Now, would I play Maryland? Probably not. But would it shock me at all if Michigan was to lose in College Park today? Absolutely not. So I do think Michigan ultimately loses. And if the winner of this game today loses next week, I don't know how the committee would put them in, especially with the tailspin both Texas and Alabama went into. Alabama dropping 6 spots, losing at home to Oklahoma, a top 10 team, and Texas losing to the best team in the SEC, in my opinion, right now. And it was a bad fourth quarter, but dropping 7 spots. So if either Oregon or USC were to win this game and then lose to unranked Washington or UCLA, I think they spiral. Now, again, the committee can prop it up. They can manipulate these polls. But I do think the Big Ten at that point, that is the nightmare scenario. And we'll get to another nightmare scenario in a second. I think the Big Ten would only get 2 teams in, which is crazy. The other nightmare scenario for Alabama fans is coming up next weekend. I still can't get, and Todd Furman, Bet the Board podcast, and this is a guy that knows Vegas inside and out, obviously lives out there. That's what he does. He's a professional handicapper. He told us yesterday on the show that Alabama was going to be a 5.5-point favorite next week in Jordan-Hare. When I initially heard the number of 6.5, I thought it was too low. I thought this thing would come 8.5 to 10. But you start to look at Alabama has not been whole all season as far as balance on offense. Special teams are a disaster. And you just look at the history in Jordan-Hare. They have really, really struggled with the Auburn Tigers. Now you've got an interim coach where Auburn, like it or not, looked their best against Vanderbilt in an overtime loss 2 weeks ago where the offense popped. I find it hard to believe Ashton Daniels is going to be able to go out and beat this Alabama defense, but I have seen crazier things. And if you're watching us locally where we originate out of Birmingham, you guys have been watching the Iron Bowl for years. And it's just some of the things that happen in the Iron Bowl, and especially in Jordan-Hare, from the kick six to Gravedigger, just really, really insane thing. So if Alabama is less than a touchdown favorite, I think they've got problems here. I still think this thing could come at 7.5 or 8. I don't know what you guys feel about that game. And obviously we'll have all week to talk about it. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Hopefully a lot of you guys are off work and traveling with friends and family. I know kids. I think I remember back in the day, we got out on Wednesday before Thanksgiving and we went back the Monday after. But our kids, and they get the full week. So I like that. But it seems like they get a lot more time off. They do have to go back to school really, really early, though, in August. So maybe that's kind of the balance there. Okay, 7 plays in college football up and available. We're going to get out of here in about 5 minutes. I haven't had any questions or comments. I probably just can't see them. Appreciate 177 of you guys jumping on here live. Let's go through the Super Tees. And where did I figure out we wanted to end this one? I think we've got this, and this. Okay, you guys tell me if this is appealing. Kentucky is playing much better. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But Vanderbilt plus 1.5 at home when they've still got everything to play for. Now, my co-host, Ryan Brown and Jim Dunaway, do not believe Vanderbilt at 10-2 is necessarily going to get into this thing. They think they're in serious trouble. I still think there's going to be plenty of attrition over the next 2 weeks in front of Vanderbilt. I do believe with Vanderbilt's resume, and I do think it's almost like last year you had a two-way player win the Heisman, and Travis Hunter was really good, and he was deserving. But I do think a lot of people want to see things they've never seen before. And this is a moment in time where Vanderbilt football, god awful. I remember people calling in Herb Winches and Ben Cook back in the day saying, we need to contract Vanderbilt. We got to get rid of this team out of the SEC. They're awful. If Vanderbilt was to go 10-2 with this schedule, their strength of schedule, I don't know how they don't get in. And that would take a win in Knoxville to end the season. So I think Vanderbilt's got to take care of business today. I'm just saying plus the 1.5. Now, minus 8.5, different story. You'll see that on our card. But plus 1.5, I think that's appealing to a lot of people out there. That would be a terrible loss for Vanderbilt. I do think Kentucky will keep it close. The other one I gave you guys earlier, Oregon at a pick. Oregon losing 2 games in one season to Autzen, although it would be against 2 top 15 teams. Again, earlier this year to Indiana and today against USC. That would be digestible, at least on the surface, not for Oregon fans, because Oregon doesn't lose there. It's probably the best home field advantage west of the Mississippi. I do think Oregon at basically a pick minus 0.5 is a really good play. And then in that same window, Arkansas has kept all of their games close. We went through this number earlier today, and this is pretty amazing because you guys remember the beatdown they took to Notre Dame. They're 2-8. But they're still plus 18 in point differential. They're 0-6 in the SEC, but they haven't lost a game by more than 6 points. It is an amazing accomplishment that Arkansas is one of 9 teams in the FBS that scores more than 30 and they give up more than 30. But Texas at home, even coming off the ass-whipping curb stomping in the fourth quarter they took in Athens, I just don't think they lose this game. I think it would be hilarious, especially with how sensitive Sark has been all week. But Texas plus the 1.5 is the way I would go there. So to me, that super tease, Vanderbilt plus 1.5 against Kentucky at home, Oregon at minus 0.5 at home to USC, and Texas at home plus 1.5. That seems like a really, really juicy 3-team teaser for you guys. So use it, don't use it, whatever you want to do with it. Just trying to give you guys free money out there right here from Lance's Lock. Lance'sLock.com, free play up and available. We do have a couple of plays and hoops. We'll get ready for the NFL. We're on the season. We are at a 64% clip, 35-20-1, including a winner this past Thursday night with the Houston Texans. Jump on board. Win all week with us and all season with us here at Lance'sLock.com. I'm trying to think if there is anything else you guys wanted to talk about. Any questions, comments, sides, totals, player props, anything before I get out of here. Again, it's not a great card. We've only got 3 or 4 really meaningful games. I say that until some of these teams lose. If Sanford beats Texas A&M, it's not going to happen. I guess it wouldn't really even matter for Texas A&M. Oh, games that really, really, really could matter, though. BYU Cincinnati. Maybe that's a dangerous game for BYU. We've got this game up and available. We've got a side on BYU Cincinnati. If BYU was to lose in Cincy, primetime Fox game, BYU's obviously done. There's a lot of teams that are going to be watching, scoreboard watching, sitting on the couch when their games are done, if they're playing in the early window, watching and pulling hard for Cincinnati. Same with Georgia Tech. This is it for Georgia Tech. They win. They get to their first conference championship game since 2014. Georgia Tech's offense has really been clicking because Haynes King. And look, I think Haynes King over the next couple of weeks could maybe win a Heisman Trophy. I know that sounds insane. Mendoza is your favorite right now. I think Jeremiah Love's probably the best player in college football. It's just not like a running back's going to win this. But Haynes King goes out and balls tonight against Pittsburgh, and then he's able to do what he did last year against Georgia, but maybe get the win against the Bulldogs. I think there's a chance he wins Heisman Trophy. And then voters actually would get to watch that ACC championship game. But Georgia Tech loses, Pitt wins out, Tech's in trouble. This is going to be a really, really interesting game. So that one's got major, major implications. Obviously, we mentioned Kentucky and Vanderbilt. We mentioned Missouri and Oklahoma. So there are a handful of games out there. Not the best card, but again, enjoy it because it is one of our final regular seasons of college football this year, which I can't believe how fast it goes. Anyway, jump on board, win with us. We're going to be doing more and more of these shows once we get a little settled in. We're going to figure out more of a rotation. Right now, we've been doing Fridays. We've been doing Saturday mornings. We are starting to figure this out here at Lance's Lock. So, again, appreciate 201 of you, 202 of you guys jumping on live. We do have 7 plays up and available. We've been killing it. We had a little off night last night where we were 1-3. We were 0-2 in college football. Florida State kicked us in the balls. Just a terrible performance from the Seminoles. And that's one of those that, if you're an Alabama fan, I still think even if Alabama, that game really is meaningless. And maybe I'm wrong on this, but even if Alabama wins that game, if they were to lose 2 of their final 3, as basically touchdown favorites at home against Oklahoma and then against an interim coach in Auburn. I still think that they were out anyway. So I don't know if the Florida State game matters on paper anymore. 10-2 Alabama team should get in 99% of the team or time. But when you lose 2 of your final 3, if in fact they were to lose next weekend, I don't know if the Florida State game would factor in. I know it will with the committee, but I think you guys might understand what I'm saying there. Anyway, it's going to be a fascinating week as we get ready for the Iron Bowl, other rivalries out there in college football. And we'll be ready to play them right here at lanceslock.com. Look, you guys be safe. Enjoy your Saturday. We've only got a few of these. They're precious. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We are going to have plays all week. One thing I love about this time of year is, around the Thanksgiving holiday, you've got games tipping off at all times. So if you like to wager, man, this is a great, great week for us. So again, be safe. Enjoy whatever you're drinking and eating. Let's win. Let's get to the win tote today. Again, 7-0 would be great. 6-1 with a USC win would be even better. Have a great day out there, and we will talk to you guys soon here at lanceslock.com, where you get that free play each and every day. Absolutely free. Jump on board with us.